I'm going to show you how easy it is to put together a simple photo backdrop setup like this for about 25 bucks. The reason we decided to build one of these photo backdrop setups was because my girlfriend crochets and she wanted to get some nicer product shots so that she could put them up for sale somewhere. And originally we were just taking them on like a mannequin in front of a white wall, and it didn't really look that professional. So we decided to start looking into getting a backdrop setup. And when we went on Amazon, the cheapest backdrop stand we could find was like $35, and it was really just 2 light stands with a bar that went across the top. And then on top of that, you had to buy some backdrops. And we bought one of the $21 backdrops off of Amazon. Total garbage. It was like paper thin or like tissue thin. The print quality on it was terrible, and it came folded up really tight, and everywhere that the creases were, it was almost like the print had like scraped off. So we sent that back. And we started thinking, you know, what other option is there? Can we just put something together? And I got the idea to do this. So what is needed to put together all this? Well, it's really simple. It's just one of these adjustable curtain rods, a set of cheap plastic clips, and a roll of fabric. The fabric we got from Joann Fabric, which is like a local craft store. They got them all over the place. The fabric was actually from the like house fabric section. It's more like for reupholstering couches and for making curtains and stuff. It's not the area for like clothes fabric. In that area, the fabric is a little bit wider. They're like 5 feet wide, which is pretty good for a backdrop. And the biggest tip I can give you for finding a good fabric for photography is just bring your camera to the store. I brought mine to the store, and just using the on-camera flash, I was basically able to pick out fabrics I thought would look good and then flash them and make sure that they didn't return all the light back into the camera. Because you want a backdrop that lights fairly evenly, and most importantly doesn't just shine the flashes or the studio lights right back into the lens, because that'll look terrible. So I was able to basically prototype all of the fabrics in the store and find ones I thought would work well. We're going to be installing it today in our basement. We've got a section here, we've got 6 or 7 feet wide of free wall where we can install the curtain rod. When you're doing this, you don't necessarily need a spot that will always be open, just somewhere that's easy to clear off. And when you're picking a spot to do this, one of the most important things is actually to have space that way in front of it. Because when you're taking photos, you're going to have your camera, your lights, and everything that way. And if you don't have enough room, you're going to be kind of like backed up and stuck against a wall. And it'll reduce the versatility of this because you will only be able to get certain shots with certain lenses. So just more space is better if you can manage it. When you're installing these curtain rods, also, depending on the type of curtain rod you've got, you have to be careful not to stretch it too far. Curtain rods can go out to like 120 inches, and especially the one like I'm going to use here, it works fine for 5 or 6 feet. If you go wider for maybe a wider piece of fabric or a professional photo backdrop, they can start to sag pretty bad. So think about that when you're looking for your curtain rod. You might want to jump up from $3 to say $6 for something a little heavier duty if you've got either a very heavy piece of fabric or you want to do much wider backdrops. Here I'm going to mount the hardware for the curtain rod. It's just these little stupid clips. How high you put it really depends on how tall you are and what's going to be convenient for you. But however high you put it, make sure that you have enough room to take the curtain rod up and off if you decide to take it down, because most of the curtain rods, at least of this type, they go from above and they hook down. So just don't put it too close to the ceiling. Okay. And then just repeat that on the other side, keeping in mind what I said earlier about not making the span too large so it doesn't sag. The one other thing to remember is that there is a slight radius to these, so however wide you need for your fabric, make sure that you're not including this radius. Your fabric can only go to here, otherwise it's going to start curving around, and yeah, it's a waste of your backdrop. And with the curtain rod up, now we're ready to hang our fabric. You'll probably need a second set of hands for this part. Take the clips that I showed you earlier and just go down the line and clip it in place. Now would be a good time to adjust any of these clips in case you've got a kink or a wave in it. It's a lot easier to adjust them once it's already up and hung than trying to get it perfect while you're hanging it for the first time. Now you just need to fluff out the bottom a little bit. Make sure that it's sitting nicely. And that's all there is to it. Really simple, and for like 25 bucks you could get a decent little photography setup put together. This would work for portraits, this would work for product photography, which is what we're going to be using it for. And even if you pick something a little less festive, you probably could do like passport photos or something like that. Your ultimate results are going to be dependent on the lights that you've got and the fabric that you choose. I mean, obviously some fabrics are not going to work for this at all. They're going to reflect all the light back at you and it's going to just be a mess. But experiment. Like I said before, I had a tip on bringing your camera to the store. Try that out. It was really nice for kind of prototyping the fabrics. And I guess let me know down below if you try this and if it works for you, because I'd be interested to see if it helps anybody else. So thanks for watching. I'm going to roll some shots now of some of the crocheted goods that my girlfriend made, and just kind of as an example of how we're using this backdrop and the kind of results that we're getting.